So the big question is owning a sailboat with all the work and expense that goes into it actually worth it? We bought our sailboat in 2022 in the fall and first got it in the water in the spring of 2023. So in this video, I'd like to show you some of the things that we did for spring prep to get things ready to go in the water the end of May. Last year was a little bit of a slow year because I had some medical things going on, so I didn't feel the best. I didn't have the most energy. We camped out on the boat quite a bit. We went a few times, took a few friends out, family, and had some really good times, but we didn't go far. This year I hope is a lot different. So on the list of things to do, we had keel work that needed to be done. We had a little bit of that hairline crack between the keel and the hull that we had to patch and repair. Then we had to remove the plastic cover that was on all winter to protect the boat. We had to put on some bottom paint, then put on zinc anodes on the shaft, commission the engine, bend the sails or install the sails, get the dinghy in the water at the dock, and then load our blankets, towels, and some other food before the boat actually launched. So for the keel work, first I had to get all the loose fiberglass off the keel, which is steel or iron, and grind everything down, use a wire brush, clean it all up really good, and then I used a material called Interprotect 2000, which is good to seal the keel. Then over that, I used a G-Flex epoxy to fill the space in that crack between the keel and the hull. Then I went over it again with the Interprotect 2000 to seal it all off. And then after that, I scuffed up the whole bottom of the boat and then painted it with a material called Odyssey HD by Petite, which is an ablative anti-fouling paint. Now, what's an ablative anti-fouling paint, you ask? It works kind of like a bar of soap, where as you're in the water and sailing around and moving around, it wears off very slowly, and it prevents the growth of barnacles, other slime, and other growth that could happen on the hull. If you don't do this, you can get a buildup of material on the hull that can really slow your boat speed. Now, this paint should last about 2 years. Now, it's hard to believe, but in the water is a small amount of electricity that can eat away on different pieces of metal on the boat. And in the water, you have the propeller and you have the drive shaft for the propeller and other pieces of metal. So in order to combat that, you put on these zinc anodes, and the electricity is drawn to the zinc, so it corrodes and eats away at the zinc rather than your precious drive shaft or propeller. Now, the zincs on the propeller shaft haven't been replaced in 2 years. Some harbors are worse than others as far as the amount of electricity in the water. Where you have a lot of boats, maybe some marinas where they're doing some welding, you can get a lot of stray electricity in the water that eats away at your propeller. So the date to launch a boat was getting closer, and I felt like we were on track. So we kept at it. We loaded up the boat with our blankets and towels and spare food, and we got the dinghy ready, and we were all ready for a launch. Thankfully, the launch went really well. We had someone that was really careful, and when you see the boat up on the trailer like that, sitting up high with all that weight up top, it's pretty strenuous. So we got the boat in the water, checked all the seacocks, make sure nothing was leaking and coming into the boat, and we were on our way for 2026 season. So is it worth it? There's a lot of expense, a lot of time, a lot of labor that goes into the boat, but there's really no other way to experience that without actually spending the time and spending the money. So the question has to be answered for each individual. We're at a time in our life where we said, okay, our health is pretty good and we've been dreaming about this all our lives. So let's give it a try. Thank you all for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.